acknowledging that we are Mi'kmaq, the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and adopts African descent, the following acknowledgement, which shall follow the land acknowledgement of the Mi'kmaq territory. We also acknowledge that people of African descent have been in Nova Scotia for over 400 years, and we honor and offer gratitude to those ancestors of African descent who have come before us to this land. Agenda. Additions to the agenda is quite full. I do have one. That is under M4. That is the press release for the King's Transit.
Where did you say you were going to put that?
Business M4. Alright, we get a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any declaration of any conflicts of interest tonight? Hearing none. We'll move on to the delegations, which there are none tonight. And next is the minutes of the previous meetings, June 3rd, 2025. Any errors in the June 3rd meeting? If not, we'll accept that as presented. June 9th, special council meeting. Any errors in that meeting minutes? No errors. Accept that one as presented as well. June 30th, 2025, special council meeting. Any errors in that meeting minutes? Nope. All good. Yes.
Elevators, pretty quick.
Pretty quick. All right, accept that as presented. And July 3rd, a special council meeting as well. Any errors in that meeting? Hearing none, we'll accept that one as presented as well. Business from arising from the minutes of the unfinished business, there are none. We'll move on to the report of the CAO.
Declaring an appeal to the development agreement. The date for the hearing has been set for July 14th to 18th, 2025, and I will be required to attend hearing to give testimony. And the appeal on the order to take action for fire inspection. There's nothing new to report on this file. EPR program. Contract with Circular Materials. Nova Scotia's transition to extended producer responsibility starts on December 1st, 2025. Circular Materials is representing brand owners obligated by the packaging, paper products, and packaging-like materials, like product materials management standards under the Environmental Goals and Climate Change Reduction Act. Circular Materials has sent out offers to municipal units concerning the offer that would be considered if the municipal units were to opt-in service model, use the opt-in service model, where in our case, the town will continue managing current recycling contract. Payment will be provided by Circular Materials based on a cost per stop, and the town will manage customer service under the current contract. The town would continue to manage promotions and education with support from Circular Materials, and the top up will be provided for P&E and contract administration. Circular Materials offer to the town for compensation for 974 stops for a term from from December 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2028, with 1-year extension options. Compensation for P&E will be based on a per stop per year. I've reviewed the offer and spoken with the representative of Circular Materials, who has responded via email to the concerns I had identified. House counts can be adjusted quarterly, and there is an annual CPI adjustment. Our collection contract with Stevie Salvage and Disposal expires on March 31st, 2026. I discussed the possibility of extending our current collection contract to match the Circular Materials offer. In a phone discussion with Stevie Salvage and Disposal, they indicated they would be agreeable to discuss an extension of the existing contract. We are into the next steps of council approval to authorize the CAO and the mayor to sign a contract with Circular Materials is required. I have the contract information that I will circulate for discussion during the in-camera session later. Admin assistant receptionist position. The position was advertised and 18 applications were reviewed. Deputy CAO and I reviewed the applications and shortlisted them down to 8. We conducted the interviews on July 2nd and 3rd, and all the candidates were strong and interviewed well. We will be checking the references and expect to choose a candidate in the coming week. We are hopeful that we will have the position filled and active by August 1st. Structures, private structures within street right-of-ways. Pending construction on the extensions of West and 3rd Avenue, there are some private structures that are encroaching on the street right-of-ways that will need to be removed. Notice will be required to be given to the owners for the removal. And I requested legal advice on the process, which I will include for in the in-camera session.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions for CAO? All right, thank you, Tom. Move on to the mayor's report. Couple things to highlight. Met with Ed Moore, who is our citizen rep for the planning committee, and Peggy Delancey, who has moved here recently, to discuss moving forward with the SAVE program for downtown. We looked over the present program as well as reviewed the new streetscape program for downtown Water Street. After discussion, it was felt that the SAVE program would be a priority over the streetscape, as building improvements and better sidewalks are an easy, quicker fix. Thought as well that we would be setting up a Zoom with our planner Chris, and that way we can get the legislation right for our planning committee to put that in. So the downtown area is starting to be looked at with the group. In June, mid-June as well, June 19th, the council decided to come up with an ad hoc committee for transit. Councilor Foote, Deputy Mayor Saunier, and myself met to discuss a current study that we were awarded a grant to have a study done. And also met with Steve Savory to discover he is taking over Cadet Group, moving from Weymouth up to Digby. Steve wants to do a few ideas to get the cadets involved in some community activity. Also look forward to a Cadet Day, October 4th, which is National Cadet Day. Also attended Digby Development Agency, Port Authority, Voice Check Committee of the Whole, Digby Area Recreation. And we thank everyone for organizing the barbecue on July 1st. It went really well. We had a lot of hot dogs, a lot of cake, so that went very well. And I'd also like to congratulate the the Lobster Bash Committee for a successful weekend this past weekend. It was very, very successful, and I think that's the best one we've ever had for Lobster Bash. Mind you, the weather really helped them this year, so it was great to see the people out, and congratulations to Councilors Donna Gracie, who was the queen this year.
Thank you.
concludes my report. Anyone have any questions or anything else on there?
No, just a comment or two, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
First would be on the app that you mentioned there, which I don't know why I'm already reading, but you know, I'm gonna look at it, learnable. I've had, I don't know, about a half dozen, between a half dozen and a dozen folks, mention to me that they're happy that we're putting out more information via the Alertable app. That they're getting the alerts that are on there, and essentially that they appreciate it. So it's easier than folks heading over to the website to look for stuff, so I think we just make sure that we continue to push to let people know that it exists. I'm not sure what signups are at now, but I know there were a couple hundred last time we went over numbers, but it's really good. And then, I'll actually go back a little bit further to the start, Jim, just to, I know you didn't talk about it, but FCM in Ottawa was, it was really good and informative, and, I just wanted to say that there was lots of good opportunity there to have, quality discussion with, some of the different groups, including funding groups for the town and for bigger ideas for the future. So it was nice to be a part of that.
Great, thank you. Just with the alert system as well, we have an employee resign who was sort of taking that on, so we have to be patient. We are hiring someone now. We had interviews last week, so we should have somebody in place in a couple weeks' time. So the alerts will be more often than they are right now. But we're doing the best we can to get it up there.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, Mr. Mayor, is that with our small error in our last deliverable with the notification for meeting.
Right.
And I asked Leslie about it, she said no, because they're tied together.
Right.
If you make a mistake in one, it's an understandable learning curve.
Yeah.
Just thanks for Leslie for jumping in and trying to help out.
Yeah. And that was for a special meeting we had.
Yeah.
With transit. All right, committee of the whole. I did forget at the start to declare a conflict there, so Deputy Mayor, if you could take over the committee of the whole for the Scallop Shell location,
Certainly.
as I'm involved with that.
So from the committee of the whole, we put a recommendation that Maiden Lane Extension be the location for the Scallop Shell artwork. And that was brought forward from committee of the whole to council for approval. Is there any discussion on that?
Chair, is this something that we need to make sure we do this right away? I know this will be on a little bit of delay. Maybe we can find another avenue of an area to put this at. I don't personally think that one is the best spot, but that is my opinion. Maybe a little bit more time?
When you say that without delay, because there's a fundraising that has to take place and design work that has to take place, and so that all takes time. Cement base, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, when we're there, I think maybe that's something we should talk about. That's my opinion. I think we are far away from the funding right now.
I think they have to have a place in mind before they start.
That's what I was really asking. In that case, I'm not a big fan of that spot.
Do you have a permanent location?
I was hoping it would be more downtownish on the waterfront area, more than hidden in behind the yellow house, basically.
You gotta remember, it's an 18 by 16-foot structure, right? It's not a little shell.
You do see it when you drive through town. It sticks out if you're in town.
That's a shared property as well, right, basically?
No, it's our right of way.
We have the right of way.
Yeah.
There's property beside it is
On either side is privately owned.
privately owned, so just saying if something's built, we're done. Right, if something's moved over there, signs or something by private people that own their properties, and we won't see it. Anything could happen there. No?
You're into the lumber. They can't build right to the wall. You're setbacks.
I was hoping we had it at the first place we had it, but it does make sense of what the mayor was saying about if. That was an awesome place, but I just feel like this has come up really quick. I don't know. Just not a fan of it personally. Not to say that I'm only one of them anyway, so this is my opinion. Thanks.
Not to say that, sorry Rick, one sec, just not to say that if we agree to that tonight, that we can't change the location by the time it's built either.
I'm all green for the bill, for sure, 100%.
Councilor Flynn.
Okay, as for the location, with the height of the unit, it will be visible from way over here at Admiral's Walk. Anywhere else in town, you wouldn't see it unless you were in front of it. It'll be more of a draw, I believe, if you can see it coming down, and it'll be visible through the whole town. And it's gonna be tall enough, nothing will block it, and our right-of-way runs to the water. So, you know, there, and I'm not saying that if there's a better location, I would be in favor of that too. But we did look at other locations like the Tourist Bureau, and it doesn't draw people downtown. So people will hopefully follow the signs, and once they get down here, they'll get out of their vehicle.
Is there any way that, whoever's the chair here right now, that we can bring that up on the TV of your picture of where that is?
No, we didn't load it.
It's on the email.
We didn't load it.
I would like to see if the public, would like the looks of that, just my thoughts on it.
What's the address? We all just look it up, the address.
It's
not
in the
really
Maiden Lane,
matches.
so you know where, the Fisherman's Park is?
Yeah.
If you come down straight like to the water, the background will be the marina. The marina will be the background, so we have it right away, they just tore the buildings down there, it's been all slated and everything.
Yeah.
So we own the 33-foot right down there, so it would be at the end, basically the end of that street.
So the end of Maiden Lane where the
Yes.
gravel stuff is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the water being the background with the wharf and as well as the marina.
Is anything happening on that gravel? Like, is there any development?
That's
planned?
private property there.
Okay.
As of yet, there's no development, no. We also own the lift station on the right-hand side of that, so this would give us more access to that as well, protect the right of way to that lift station.
There are tourists all summer long that walk down.
Walk down the wharf, it's an attraction, yeah.
Any questions?
Sure, I'll make a comment on it, and just say that, you know, when you're going to almost any city, if you think of some of the more, you know, scenic and monumental things that you go to places for, I'll use the Eiffel Tower as an example. Whenever you see a picture of it, it looks beautiful, straight on, or from a little bit of an elevation, but a few like blocks over to the side of it is, well, a not so pretty area that, depending on the photographer, if they chose to put that in the picture, they can put it there. And it would be the same if you go to the bright lights of Vegas. There's all kinds of amazing things to look at. And generally, like a street in behind, there's, you know, 40, 50, 80, 200 homeless folks that are, you know, camped out and doing their thing. But they're not on the main strip, and they're not necessarily what people capture in the pictures. So I understand the concern over, you don't necessarily want the colors of the building on the corner in the picture. And some people will put that in there to say, I can't believe Digby put this next to this. But most people who come down and take a picture of it, they're not here to necessarily make us look bad. They want to come down. If they see a giant scallop shell, they'll get a picture of the scallop shell and their family and their kids and their dog and everything in front of it, and probably make sure to crop out the other stuff that might be around. And to have our marina and the wharf in the background gives a wonderful picture of what, you know, what a tourist will oftentimes see in this area. And the number of them that, yeah, I agree, like on the waterfront, it would be wonderful to have them there, because people look over at that wharf all the time. But I think if you give them a slightly different angle of it, and we do give ourselves the room to put up what we're looking to put there, that they'll appreciate it for what it is, and probably be a little bit more able than what someone local will be able to ignore the building that's off to the side. So, so yeah, I appreciate and understand, I guess, the concern over it, but I think most folks will hopefully be able to look past that and just focus on what gets put there.
If I may, this project is not a Digby Town Council project. It's the Downtown Digby Business Association, I believe, is behind it. And our part in this is to, if we can, provide a place for it. We don't own a lot of land in town that is not fit to be used for other things. So if this was placed there, and if at any point Maiden Lane needed to be opened up in that area, it could be moved later on. But really, all we're doing is approving this location so the group can get on with their fundraising, and they may approach us for some assistance, we don't know. But for sure, without a location, they can't get started.
What about, I was going to say, but I didn't want to, but just over here in the promenade, when you come down to the left, there's a huge garden there that kind of is useless, honestly, in my opinion. Boom, right there. You could sit up on the deck, watch, the music's there, the shells in the background. You could take the water, actual walk into it. And it's safer than the camera.
Where do you mean, where the cenotaph is, just on the back side of that?
Yes, right down here on the corner, right off the, where they have
Where
that,
the grass
and then
is.
we don't have to do that garden anymore. Double win.
But then that's kind of hidden there too.
I know, but we have no land.
Just a question, I guess a comment as well. It all depends on the engineer, because it's such a big project, a big structure, that it has to be engineered, so we don't know if that site will be approved for an engineer either.
Yes.
But we have to move on to the location, right? So,
And you have to have a location in order to do your promotion.
Right.
To get started running.
Yeah. Beautiful surroundings is all I think of, but that's what my option is. Thanks.
Any other comments or questions from council? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of making Maiden Lane Extension the location of the Scott Shell Park, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, signify by saying nay. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Mr. Mayor, you have the chair.
all right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moving on to the Industrial Commission report, Councilor Foot.
Oh, just a minute, I'll have to bring that up. Sorry. You got there a little faster than I did. Okay. Thank you. A meeting of the Digby Development Agency, or the Digby Industrial Commission, was held on June 4th, 2025 at the Digby Town Hall. So there were several items on the agenda. First was the property sale in Digby Industrial Park. Sale has not been finalized. The lawyer is working with the purchaser. The second item, a yearly audit. As the DDA is not incorporated and has no obligation to file a separate financial statement or audit, it is recommended the Town of Digby and Municipality of Digby take over the audit and financial statements, creating a cost savings of up to $7,000 per year. A motion was passed to ask for the year 2025 that Grant Thornton be requested supply a financial statement only at the cost of $1,500 as quoted. Also for the Town of Digby, Municipality of Digby Finance Departments to review this and determine if the statements should be in the future be done in-house, or if they feel Grant Thornton should continue. Item 3, industrial park sign at vacant lots on Highway 217 is down. Consideration was given to replacing it with a new one, but whereas the lot is for sale and may possibly be sold soon, it was decided to wait and look into moving a sign now situated on Shore Road to one of the vacant lots on 217. The next item, we have a business interested in purchasing an on-service lot at the Highway 217 location. Negotiations are ongoing. And the next item, driveway installation on the Highway 217 lots. It was decided to best wait in order to determine requirements when the lots are sold before putting the work and the cost into driveways that may have to be changed. And next item, a proposal has been made by Bell Mobility to buy or lease an unused lot behind the Conway Workshop to be used for a cell signal tower. Bell would make their own access driveway and culverts and secure the area. The committee would prefer the land be leased to Bell, and that negotiation is ongoing also. Item 5, there was a Smart Energy Innovation Day at Nova Scotia Community College in HRM. It was decided that myself, Councillor Foote, would attend the conference and report back to the committee. Terry Thibodeau also indicated a desire to attend and was approved to do so. So after reviewing the agenda and perspective for the conference, I decided it was not necessary for 2 people to attend, and I decided to cancel my trip and allow Terry to go and report back to the committee. And that's it for the Industrial Commission.
Thank you, Councillor Foote. Any questions for Councillor Foote with that? Tom, just what was our accounting fee prior to the 1500? 7,000 prior to that. And I guess I have a question to clarify as well with the driveways. They've been approved by the Department of Highways, right?
They have been approved by the Department of Highways for pretty well any location along there. The question is, what's going to be needed by any business buying those lots?
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Nominating committee. Had some switching of committees due to some work obligations. It's important for us to work because we certainly need a paycheck other than here. We appreciate that. So I'm going to read the following appointments. So the appointment of Councillor McCormick to the Executive Committee, appointment of Councillor Foote to the Waste Check Committee, appointment of Councillor Weir to the Digby Fire Committee, and appointment of Councillor Weir to the Digby and Area Tourism Committee. I have a motion for those appointments.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions on the appointments? Everyone's okay with them? Question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to correspondence. First one is from Canada Post. Do we have any questions with any closures or any matters with Canada Post? Eugene Verdon is the president of the Maritime Branch, and we can reach out to him at any time to if there's any concerns from the residents. Next one is a letter from the Municipality District of Digby to NSFM President Mayor Pam Mood of Yarmouth with regards to concerns regarding Safety Road and insufficient funding. We certainly all know about that. She has sent that to Digby, District has sent that to us, NSFM, so we'll probably be hearing about that in the near future, if not before November for the NSFM. I don't think she required any support for that, did she, Tom? Just a letter they're sending out. We'll send the municipality districts. It's been read. Next one is the correspondence from Joseph Melanson. It's in the package as well. Questions on that report? There are some PAC stuff in there, so we can definitely send that to the PAC meeting as well to discuss. Some great points there. Architecture bylaws. Probably has some good input for our FSA program as well, so we'll pass that on. That's okay.
Can I just make a request to make sure that we get that out to the citizen members of the PAC as well before the next meeting?
Yeah. And I appreciate what we heard from our meeting April 9th, and we're also working on the next one for the commercial at this time as well. Next correspondence is from Jenny Gillis. I did contact Jenny this weekend. It came in on Saturday actually. I didn't hear back from her on whether it was okay, so we're going to move forward with it tonight. So I'll turn that over to the chair of the PAC committee, Councillor McCormick.
Okay. I'm fairly certain Jenny is here because I think I can see her. Is it okay if I read this in?
Yeah.
Alright, so this is from Jennifer Gillis, 27 Thomas Road. Digby, Nova Scotia, B0V180, Town of Digby, so that's us, and it was written on July 5th. Dear Town of Digby, I attended the PAC meeting on June 26, 2025, and left with several concerns I'd like to share. Firstly, in the What We Heard booklet from the 9th of April meeting, it was clear that residents want to see Airbnbs regulated. However, during the PAC meeting, this was framed as a concern about unsightly properties. When Charles Halliburton mentioned a great Airbnb experience in Canmore, the issue was brushed aside. This was disappointing, as the real concern is about housing access. Companies buying multiple homes for short-term rentals, making it harder for locals to find long-term housing. In places like Quebec, rules exist to prevent this, such as allowing short-term rentals only in a primary residence or limiting the number of properties per owner. Digby could adopt similar rules or, at the very least, commit to proper community consultation. Residents asked for this directly, it shouldn't be ignored. For transparency, I operate an Airbnb myself. I'm not speaking out of self-interest, but because it's clear the town is not listening to its residents on this issue. Instead of dismissing concerns, look into how tourist towns like Canmore actually regulate Airbnbs. There was also discussion about affordable housing. Will McCormick mentioned that there are funds set aside. Why not contact Nancy Robinson and support her Siesta Motel project? If that money is earmarked for affordable housing, the town has a responsibility to act. When Chris asked whether council would move forward on this, the reaction felt dismissive and out of touch with what residents are asking for. High-density development is another serious issue. The town can and should write specific bylaws for these projects. According to what we heard, the towns will want development located near services and existing infrastructure, with environmental reviews and affordable units. Without high-density bylaws, there's no structure, just a free-for-all. One strong candidate for a new project is the 6-acre parcel the town owns on Victoria Street, the current compost/trees dump. I raised this idea with Tom a few years ago about building affordable housing there with Nancy Robinson. The town could contact prospective developers from Halifax who have a portfolio of builds, and they could bid for this space. But it's so important to have strong guidelines in place to protect Digby's future before big builds go up. Use the scale Chris mentioned to determine population density and green space per acre. This is vital long-term planning. Lastly, I've written to the town before and never received a response, except an occasional thanks for your letter. I respectfully request this letter be read at the next council meeting under correspondence. But more importantly, why hold a public meeting on April 9th if community input is going to be ignored or dismissed? It's your responsibility to listen. In sincere service to the people of Digby, Jenny Gillis.
Okay, anyone have any comments on any sections in it? I do appreciate Jenny talking about the sessions we had, and we are working on those, and I'm glad you do come to those meetings. It's great to have that input. Airbnbs, I believe, are regulated in Nova Scotia now. I know we charge a levy, we bill for the levy on those, do we not, Tom? The levy committee are responsible for that.
They're registered with us.
Yeah, so they are registered.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, so for the Airbnbs, and I could be wrong, but I do believe that Chris also did bring up, I think the exact thing that was mentioned in here, which is that certain areas have gone with Airbnbs that only allow them in your primary residence, so that they're not necessarily always available to just go out and buy 5 properties and decide you're living in one and Airbnb out 4 others. Because it obviously gives an advantage to having a home to somebody who has excess disposable income to be able to purchase those. And I believe this is something I should state as well, that we will take this back and discuss it at the PAC as well. So it will go to our citizen members. And then just for reference, the funds that were discussed in here or mentioned in here would be the housing accelerator funds that we have. And there are some rules and requirements around those, but we're currently working on meeting some of the guidelines from the federal government for that. And then our next steps will be to figure out exactly how we're going to be using those funds to aid the town in terms of creating more affordable housing options. So that will be coming, but we do have to go through the paperwork part of that with the federal government first, before we're able to utilize those funds. But they do still exist, and we are working, I believe, like as closely as we can with Nancy on the Siesta site project.
Certainly are working with Nancy on that, that's for sure. So again, thank you very much, Jenny. Appreciate the input. And we will take that line for line at the community meeting level. All right, anyone else have any other questions before we leave that? No? New business, Councillor Weir, FCM conference report. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Councillor Cormack was saying, the FCM was out of this world, really. I would say it that way. I'd like to begin by expressing my appreciation to have the opportunity to go. For me, it was incredible, valuable, lots of experience from it, learning, networking. Just going to try to skim through my report a little bit. Throughout the week, I participated in a wide range of sessions and workshops like housing affordability and AI and mental health, climate change, infrastructure. There's so much going on. It was incredible. I also attended some keynote presentations like Mark Kearney, Elizabeth May, Rebecca Bly. She was the president of the FCM. As well as many other federal parties. And some of the highlights of the trip, I got to do some Q&A at the Parliament with Sean Fraser, and that was pretty cool to see something in action, not just on YouTube. And Cody Lois, I can say his last name that way, he's another MP from the Valley. He actually took us for a tour, a few of us, through the Parliament, and we got to meet the Speaker of the House, and he talked about stories, and it's just something I'll never forget. Overall, the FCM conference was an excellent opportunity for professional development for myself, and I know us, and I made many connections that I still talk to them every day almost now, from fellow councillors, mayors, officials, whatnot, and some of the conversations we're having is not really vital, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can reach out to these people, they already have it in development, and it's always, all they do is, here you go, and it's really a huge time saver, so thank you.
Thank you for your report. Next up is the request for decision, West Street and 3rd Avenue Extension, Phase 1. Tom, we'll turn that over to you for the tenders.
Recommendation is that council award the tender for the West Street and 3rd Avenue Extension Project Phase 1 to Meisner Excavation Limited in the amount of $710,710 plus HST. The background is the town issued a tender proposal for the West Street and 3rd Avenue Extension Project Phase 1 on the provincial procurement site on May 22nd, 2025, which closed on June 19th, 2025 at 3 p.m. 2 tender proposals were received and opened immediately after the tender closed, which resulted in the following. Meisner Excavation Limited, $702,710 plus HST. Dexter Construction Company Limited, $872,805 plus HST. The tenders were sent to the town engineer for review and comment. Their cost estimates for the project was $1.4 million with the lift station, paving, curb, sidewalk, tactile indicators, and additional gravel quantities removed. The estimate would be $940,420. Notes on the Meisner excavation proposal. Item number 23.2, 1050 millimeters doghouse. They have listed the unit price as 8,000 and the item price for 2 counts is also 8,000, where it should be 16,000. Connections to the existing main, these items are all seem to be with quite high relative to the other bid received on this project and bids received on previous projects. The supply and installation of the doghouse manholes is covered in item 23. Storm sewer pipe, per meter prices for the storm sewer pipe seem to be very low for the supply and installation of the storm pipe. Sales tax listed on the tender was out of date. It should have been 14%, which would reduce the total price by about 7,000. We have to account for the additional 8,000 from item 23.2, but I don't think that's worth pursuing and need further discussion on item 25 and 31. Therefore, the price adjustment with the price adjustment for item 23.2, the price would be $710,710 plus HST. After reviewing the comments from the town engineers and discussing with the Public Works Director, the tender results, staff would make the above recommendation.
Any questions? Tenders? Yes, Councilor.
This project was, funded by the grant that was applied for.
Yeah.
I can't remember the initials for the grant.
Yeah, I can't off the top of my head, but it's provincial money.
Yeah.
There is some opportunity to apply for some federal money as well that can be added to this project, so.
Okay. And this is our portion of it here that you're discussing?
No, that's the total cost.
That's the total cost.
Yeah, so it's cost shared at 50%.
Okay.
The grant we received was 1.2 million.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
This is Deputy
We built in some cost overruns so that we can sort of avoid the Mount Street problems.
Yes.
That's what he was alluding to it. That basically is well below what they had anticipated after the Mount Street incident. And that's why their estimate on the amount of work, their estimate would be 940,000 and we're coming in at 710.
And I'm assuming that all this stuff is available within the country and won't be subjected to a crazy tariff tomorrow?
I would assume so, most of it.
All right. Any other questions? If not, can we get a motion to approve the tender?
So moved.
Seconder?
Seconded.
Questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Unanimous. All right. On to special purpose flag flying request for the Cadets of Canada. That was in your package. We do have some that are reoccurring each year. The cadets asked for October 4th, but I see in the report that the Indigenous is the first 2 weeks of October. The variance I would ask is that Steve Savory is planning an event on October 4th, and if we could put the flag up for that event and then take it down and do the last 2 weeks. Just that's okay, can we do that? Tom, is that all right to do that?
Yeah, it's basically it's Micmac History Month is the whole month. And usually we put special purpose flags up for a maximum of two weeks. And you have to move it a couple days, it can still be up for 2 weeks.
Okay. The other ones are the African Heritage Month in February, National Volunteer Week in April, Pride Flag in Pride Month, first, and the Mi'kmaq History Month, first 2 weeks of October, as I just discussed. And Veterans Week, 2 weeks, from November 5th to the 11th here, but, 2 weeks. All right, so we need a motion, if you're okay with the cadet flag flying for 2 weeks in October.
I'll move for that to go ahead.
Seconder?
I'll second that.
Second, Councilor McCormick. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So it's been a rough weekend for some of us. Had a surprise on Friday with King's Transit posting something prior to the agreed date on July 7th, which was today, was our deadline. And they called, asked for the answer after our meeting, and proceeded to post the posting prior to the date, which would have been today. Tom worked hard over the weekend to get the press release out. The press release is, we had something on the website today. So, can everyone hear me? Yeah? Sort of. So we had a press, couple things on our website today. So we've gone into more depth with it. So basically, it's what is on our website, as well as the costs that were put forward to us. I will just read the costs. Municipality District has committed to covering operation costs for July 2025 within the town, estimates $8,200. King's Transit Manager Midge Hodge presented the town with several options to avoid service suspension. 1-year service contract, monthly cost of $8,200 a month, total annually $98,400. We currently pay $10,000 a year, so this would jump up to $100,000. Yeah, I know. A 6-month termination notice will be required. If I can pass this over to Councilor Foote, it's actually kind of more than the 98,000 because there's a 6-month notice in there as well. So basically, we'd be committed for a year and a half, correct?
Yes, because as it turns out, the 6 months opt-out is only eligible after the 12 months on the renewal date.
Right.
So by going in for the 98,000 plus the 6,000 capital they wanted, we'd actually be liable for about $150,000 for the transit, and that doesn't include any change in the route, which goes now down Warwick Street, back across Water Street, back across First, and straight back up Warwick Street again. And you want me to carry on with the next one, Mike?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, the second one, the full membership, through reopening the intermunicipal service agreement, was offered to us at $4,100 a month until April 1st, 2026. However, that one comes in with a 12-month opt-out timeline, which means that the price is still $150,000 to $60,000 that we feel we can't afford. The next option was the permanent withdrawal. Service ends at the town boundary of August 1st, 2025. And then the fourth option, they offered to operate a local service for us. Estimated monthly cost $17,000, which is $204,000 a year to connect with their King's Transit route. And that was for a fairly basic in-town route, which seemed out of reach for us also. So we did consider each option. Council determined that the cost with no guarantee of expanded or improved service did not represent good value. So while, as you know, with their transit committee, We are committed to assessing future transit solutions, including the feasibility of a local microtransit. We're not there yet. We have a lot of work to do, a lot of information to do, and hopefully be able to coordinate with some other groups in the province who have done this and studied this, and be able to do a full transit study. And we'll have to provide updates as this progresses.
So just read the last paragraph or two. While the town carefully considered each option, council ultimately determined that the significantly higher cost, without a guarantee of expansion or improved service to all town residents, did not represent good value. The town will not fund continued King's Transit service and has opted instead to explore alternatives better suited to its needs. The town is committed to assessing future transit solutions, including the feasibility of a local microtransit system. Updates will be provided as the work is in progress. Residents are encouraged to monitor the town's official communications for information regarding alternative transportation services and future developments. I've had a few calls. We've had a few calls up there. We do understand that some residents need that service, so we will be discussing some solutions. I'm hoping we'll have a special meeting in another week or so. We do have until August 1st. We also are looking at our current operating budget, which we normally put $10,000 in that for the transit, so there may be a solution there that we can, look at helping those that use the transit. A lot of the comments we're getting now are from out of town folks. So we try to send them to the municipality because they're responsible for the bus service that is stopping right now. I also want to add that we never have had a contract with King's Transit. Our contract has been with the municipality district of Digby. So they paid for the service and then they invoiced us for a portion of what they wanted to come downtown. So our 2 kilometers compared to Weymouth, to Smith Cove, to Cornwallis at 300,000 to our 50 or 60,000 a kilometer is kind of bad in our favor. We certainly don't want tax rates to go up 10 or 16 cents to cover the transit, but at the same point we need to come up with a solution. And ironically, a few weeks ago we started an ad hoc committee and we did get a grant to look at some of that transit stuff of our own. With the King's Transit, this is just writing a check. We get no input, we get no fares back, and we couldn't get numbers from them how many people actually use the bus. Just an estimate of maybe 1,500. So, it was a business decision we had to make, and like I said, we've had some calls and we're addressing it, and we will see what we can do in the next couple of weeks. So, questions, we'll start here with Councilor Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much for expressing that information. I know we've reached out to 1 million people so far, and everybody is saying everything. So, as you can see, not only is it a lot of money, but it's a terrible route. Period. It doesn't do nothing much for anybody. It's always late. It's my opinion. We can do better. We can keep it at Digby, figure it out ourselves, get a better route. Councillor Foote and the mayor, and everyone's working very hard on this, but it can't happen tomorrow. I must stress that. Also, it still comes into Canadian Tire for now, right? It's still there. Municipalities pay for it. Right now, I mean, that's better than nothing until we figure this out. So I'm hoping that you believe in us, that we can figure something out here. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
I'd just like to publicly say thank you to Councillor Foote, or as we affectionately nicknamed him, Mr. Transit. Many of the information that we required trying to navigate this complex issue, Rick had on file, on hand, or in his mind, that he helped us and answered a lot of questions when we were trying to go through this with very short notice, and I want to stress that. Council was put under the bus, quite frankly, and Rick helped us out a lot, and he continues to, because transit is his thing. I just want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Sure. I don't know if Councillor Foot will share it. We actually did a cost analysis of what we'd be charged per kilometer, and what the discrepancy is between what Digby would pay per kilometer of route versus what the municipality pays per kilometer of route, and it is significant. And it's also part of the reason we had to make the unfortunate decision that we did. But to add to the thanks for Councillor Foot, I know it doesn't have an immediate solution for us, but it helped give us a little perspective in terms of what our cost was and what we were being charged for the area that we get serviced, and it was a lot. So thank you for doing the work on that and figuring it out for us.
Thank you, Councilor McCormick. I'd also like to thank Leslie, who probably took about 300 calls today, probably, over this.
Thank you,
And
Leslie.
I'm not very happy with King's Transit right now. At the meeting, they put our CAO under the bus, and a lot of us under the bus at those meetings, and very unprofessional on their part.
At 5 o'clock on Friday.
At 5 o'clock on Friday, yeah. Tom worked really hard over the weekend, putting stuff together. I'd like to thank you, Tom. And if you could explain to the ones here tonight that normally when we cost share in the agreements, it's done a little differently rather than here's the amount. So if you could, how we do the assessment for people. So like waste check and things that we participate in.
Now, there's usually a funding formula for all groups. This particular group, King's Transit's formula was somewhat different. They use a completely different formula that, in my estimation, and did nothing for the towns that are served by King's Transit, but up their cost. Middleton, the town of Middleton, they went from 20,000 up to like 180. And the formula is based on kilometers traveled plus the population within 1.5 kilometers each side of the route. So basically, if you take come down Warwick Street and go 1.5 kilometers each side, you get a fair amount of people, probably 3/4 of the town, that would be included in the formula that don't necessarily use the bus. Municipality, in the rural, they have the same thing, but they're lots sparsely populated. So the population doesn't affect them as much as it does towns. So I fully believe I was in part of the discussions with the on the funding formula in that, and it seemed disproportionate towards the towns. The other towns did speak out against it as well. They managed to get some amendments, but actually the amendment that they got was 0.5 kilometer, because it was going to be 2 kilometers on each side of the route. And they negotiated to get it down to 1.5. So it's still, like I said, if all of town's being serviced, or at least the majority of towns serviced, we had a loop that went, to the Racket and back up Victoria Street, within that would be different. But we've only got, what is it, Rick, 3.5 kilometers?
It's 3.2 kilometers from Sobeys to Scotiabank and back.
Yeah. So that's what we're paying. They want us to pay $100,000 a year for 3.2 kilometers.
So normally, with the other things that we do, like waste check, it goes by population
And uniform
and
assessment.
uniform assessment. So it's fair to every community that is a part of those organizations. So.
Because your uniform assessment tells you displays your ability to pay based on your assessments.
All right, thank you for that.
If I may.
Councillor Tran?
Something was mentioned to me today, and I believe it was on Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook enough to see it, that other towns, we're the only town in the valley that's not opted in on King's Transit. I believe that's not quite correct, because Coldbrook, Kingston, Annapolis Royal, none of those have opted in, but they're being serviced through their counties. Kings County covers Coldbrook, Aylesford, Kingston, Greenwood. I have seen no contract of any of those towns. And Bridgetown and Annapolis would be covered by the County of Annapolis. I'm not sure why Middleton and Berwick each have their own contracts, maybe because they have a different deal. I don't know what it is. But I'd just like to point out to everyone that we're not the only ones that opted out. We're just the only ones that aren't covered by our county.
Thanks, Chair. I just want to really stress to everybody, thank you for coming for this. It's a big news, you know, and I know I have been somewhat of a jerk, basically trying to push you guys into this information session that we're having right now. I'm sorry, but thank you. I just want to say thank you for reaching out and doing what you're doing right now. And Rick, you are amazing on transit, Mr. Transit, of course, and Leslie, your hats, you're wearing too many. You're doing an amazing job. Everybody here is doing an amazing job. I just wish everybody could share this information up there so they could save us all a little bit of time. As you know, what's going on in the social media world, it's getting a little crazy, and I do appreciate everything, Paul, as well. I think we're going to get better in the end.
Thank you. My mom always said, patience is a virtue.
Well, you tell me that, but you know me.
All right, so we need a motion to approve this press release for immediate release. A motion for that from Floyd.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And that wraps up our meeting for tonight. We're now going in camera, so thank you for coming out. And,
I don't know what the time limit is, a lot longer than that, but back when Bondi built on Canada Banks.
Yeah.
Right, when they sold 3 lots there, including the one that the Fisherman's Park is on, right? But they had that caveat that if you didn't do it within a certain time, that, the town had first right of refusal to take it back. I think that's how it worked,
Yeah.
but at the price that he paid for it. I mean, that was years later that we bought that back.
I think he just turned it over, didn't he, to us?
No, we bought it from,
From Monica?
we bought it back from him, but, I scooped every cent that he owed the town out of that check before I give it to him, so. Which is basically, we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Right, so if he owes the tax, at that time he owed the town some tax money, so I paid those taxes off and give him the balance.
All right, we need a motion. We're back in session.
Okay.
So.
Can I move that PID 30229041, less the segment to be sold to the Thomases of 14,000 square feet, be offered to be sold to Hollywood Construction based on the Pier 2 Realty Limited fair market value assessment of $49,000, with a right of repurchase by the town at the sale price should construction not begin within 18 months.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That practically makes sense.
Right.
You can
Motion
vote.
carried.
Okay.
All right, contracts.
I move that we give direction to the CAO and mayor to sign the circular materials, or CM, contract as presented to council with respect to the curbside collection program.
Seconder?
Second.
Aye.
Aye, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Was
Motion
I
carried.
under that?
So I can just, what did you,
Direction of the CAO and mayor to sign the circular materials contract as presented to council.
authorize, it should be
Oh,
authorized.
so, okay, I'll amend that, that's all right, amend that to we authorize the CAO and mayor to sign the circular materials or CM contract as presented to council with respect to the curbside collection program.
Second that one as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And the other one? Is there another one?
There was another one, I thought there was one coming from you.
No,
While we do the backhoe?
we're redoing the back.
To reopen the backhoe, direction staff to reopen the budget, we take the back out of the budget.
Right. Is that the motion?
Sure.
Okay.
And,
Paul, can I motion?
Is that a second?
oh, wait for a second first, yeah.
Second, okay. Questions?
Are we setting aside the sum of money should any repairs be required for that, and if so, is there a specific amount?
I would
Yes,
say,
so we'll determine that at the
Operation
operation budget.
But we
That
also,
becomes an operating.
okay,
Right.
but did we also want to make, codicil for saving some money for transit?
I think that can be discussion at the operating budget as well.
You can't take, if it's
Right.
capital,
You can't
it's
take
gotta,
capital
it's
over
gotta
there.
come out of
Yeah.
capital altogether, and then it becomes an operating budget concern. Like I said, we are behind the eight ball,
Yeah, we're trying to save the 30,000, right?
and, so, yeah, unfortunately,
Right, so the motion is what, sorry?
and it's,
To amend the capital budget to remove the backhoe and set aside money in the operating budget for repairs. I don't know if that's exactly how you want to word it, but.
When it comes time to the operating budget, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Just put it
Or
back in the operating
to
budget.
to be determined at the operating budget.
Set aside money.
Yeah.
Because it's being worked on now.
Right.
We can also get guys' opinion on the price and see if things will happen.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who seconded my motion, sorry.
I did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Tom's here to 2022.
Are we doing that one?
Nope.
All right, I believe that's it.
Motion for adjournment?
Motion for adjournment. Seconder?
No, I'm not seconding
that. I'm voting
against it.
Second.
I'll say that.